Welcome back to another episode here on the Hard Hustle Podcast. With our next guest is that answered a newspaper ad because she was bored, and now she's the CEO of the organization serving thousands of families, like mine. Jessica, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, can we just kind of get started? Like this was just you decided to enter a newspaper ad, and this is where we're at today.
Yeah, so kind of an interesting story, but after I graduated college, I, of course, like everybody, was looking for a job, wasn't sure, what was out there, what I wanted to do, but I needed money. So I applied to a variety of jobs, and I got a job working in the human resources field, doing some benefits administration, some
Mhm.
work on pensions, and it was work, and I got some good experience, but I just didn't find it fulfilling, right? I wasn't excited when I woke up in the morning and wanting to go to work. It was kind of dragging my feet and getting there right at the last minute. And so I really, had to think about what I wanted to do for the rest of my life at 22 years old. And I, thought that the organization I was with really wasn't sustainable for me and my goals and what I wanted to accomplish in life. And so I picked up a newspaper and went to the want ads and read every single little posting, and I came across one towards the bottom that said case manager wanted, college degree required, and then there was a phone number. That was all that was in that ad, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll just call them, and what I now know was the receptionist answered, and I said I was calling about the ad in the newspaper, and she said, "Great. Do you have any experience working with individuals with disabilities?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Do you have a college degree?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Okay, come in for an interview." Now, knowing what I know
Perfect.
now, to be a case manager in the field that I work in requires a 4 year degree. So that was kind of the qualifier that got me in.
Yeah, they're going to teach you the rest of it. As long as you had the
Absolutely,
degree, that's all they needed to
that
get a
was
piece of
all we
paper.
needed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. Just thinking about the newspaper days. You talking about it was just small, very to the point. They had to pay for that space, right? So they had to keep it as simple as possible. So you had to go through all these different things,
Right.
and to even think the newspaper is the way we used to communicate back then is just, you know, kind of mind blowing. But here we are. Now you get into a space that you truly love, have a passion for. You've been doing it for some time. How many years have you been with the organization now?
With my current organization, I'm going on 11 years, and I had about 13 years at the prior organization whom put the ad in the newspaper.
Wow, so you've been doing this for almost 3 decades, you'd say?
Yeah, yeah, pretty close.
And leaving school, a lot of times we leave high school, we go off to college, we want to be these doctors, we want to be a basketball player, astronaut. I don't know. What did you want to do, Jessica? Was it always in this kind of lane, or this just kind of happened by just faith?
No, not at all. I actually started college as a math major, and 3 years
Okay.
in, it's like I don't really know what I'm going to do with this because I wasn't in the College of Education. I wasn't going towards teaching. It was just something
Yeah.
that came easy to me. And my junior year, I was in. I'll never forget. It was advanced linear algebra, and we are talking about building bridges. And I was like, "This is this is not where I need to be right now." And so I went and got my file from my counselor, and I walked it over to the psychology building and finished my degree there, which is what qualified me to get that first job in my
That's so good.
field.
So good. I love math. I love numbers. But when it gets to numbers and letters and all this other stuff, you can forget about it. Okay. So I love math. It is definitely my forte until you start to add all these just algebra. That just always drove me crazy. Like when I had those classes, I'm like, and let's be honest, how many times have you used algebra today or in the last 20 years, Jessica?
Not
Right? They were stressing me out
right.
here. I almost was growing white hairs over this math class. But no, you're in a special place now. You have,
Mhm.
I think, 80 locations. Is
We
that
do.
correct?
Yes, we have 80 locations throughout the Chicagoland area.
Wow. And,
Many
and when you took it over, when you took it over, how many locations did you guys have?
Um, I've been in this role for 2 years, but when I started with the organization about 11 years ago, I would say, in terms of our operating budget, we've probably doubled in that time. So Clearbrook has
Wow.
had a huge period of expansive growth, which is great. That means we can support and serve more individuals that need us.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. Especially doubling in size like that. That means there was definitely that need. What does a day to day in your life actually look like at the head of the table?
That's a great question. I think it depends on the day. I supervise a staff of very capable executives that head up all of our functions here, whether it's programmatic or human resources. With 80 locations, you can imagine our maintenance department is very busy all the time. And then I also spend some time with our fundraising department. Fundraising is key for us to be able to have the resources to carry out Clearbrook's mission. And so, whether it's attending events or doing a one-on-one tour with a donor. Much of what I do is I'm the face of Clearbrook, so I'm getting our message and our story out to as many people as possible. I spend quite a bit of time talking to our local, state legislators here in Illinois about what not only Clearbrook but the entire service system for those with developmental disabilities need in the state of Illinois. Right now, we've got about 16,000 people waiting for services like the ones
Wow.
that Clearbrook provides. So there's a tremendous need in our state to support those individuals and their families.
And these services, is it just because not enough locations, not enough people in the spaces, or what's the holdback on it?
There's a financial component when we're talking about perhaps buying a home in the community to convert into a group home. That's a capital investment. The Chicagoland area that we are in, homes are pretty costly, and then we have to renovate them, put in fire suppression systems, get a vehicle, furnish them, and then move all of the individuals in. So it's pretty costly to get one up and running. And normally there's about 4 individuals that live in a group home. So, it's wonderful when we can serve 4 more people, but thinking about 16,000 on the wait list,
Yeah.
we're just, making a little dent in the need.
And give us what Clearbrook does. What are the program and services that you guys offer for the
Sure.
communities?
So we have residential services for
Mm.
individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in a couple different settings. We, as I mentioned, have group homes, which we call CILAs, Community Integrated Living Arrangements, and so we pair roughly 4 individuals to live together with a staff member in a home, and we do kind of shift staffing to make sure that there's always somebody available to assist and care for the individuals. For those that have more medical needs, we have what are called intermediate care facilities, and that is very much like a long-term care facility for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I always say that's the last piece of Clearbrook's mission. We, across the span of what we do, could serve an individual through their lifespans. We have children's services and early
Right.
intervention to the long-term care segment, and as our individuals are aging just like us, that last piece has become critical for families and their loved ones who've maybe lived with Clearbrook for 40 years and now they need a higher level of care, so we can provide that within the Clearbrook family.
I love that. That's pretty cool. And your leadership really speaks for itself because the last time I spoke to you, you mentioned the as you switched over to different organizations, people were just following you over. What made you that person that people really wanted to work with about the way that you lead? I'm pretty sure that's that what people were really fascinated about. Can you kind of share a little bit about that?
I really try to be fair and compassionate. Those are both really important to me as I work with staff at all levels. I want to make sure that everybody feels that they're treated fairly in their place of work and their job. But I also I'm a pretty compassionate person, so I chose this. I ended up choosing this field for the last 25 years because I want to help people, and that holds true for my staff. I think for me, not only is my commitment to the individuals we serve, but it's to the staff that are taking care of everybody served by Clearbrook. So I think that's what people would say about me.
I love it, and there's just so many more things I can only imagine people really say. But when it comes to a leader like yourself, you have a child that represents all this, right? This is what you do it for. When you wake up and understand the why, you wake up and see the why every single day. What does that look like? What does that what did that teach you when it became to being a leader in this organization?
I think it further taught me compassion, and as I work with the family members of those we serve, I think I have a different perspective because when I go home and talk with my husband and my stepson, I see that other side of what I do professionally, which has been, I think, helpful for me in my career and my approach to not only our individuals but the families that are supporting them also. It's really kind of a team effort here at Clearbrook between us and the individuals and their families.
Do you feel that it's been a very difficult time? I hear a lot of organizations when I talk to them about what's happening at the government level and just funding. Are you guys just kind of pivoting, or are you guys feeling some of the things that are happening within our economy at this
We
time?
haven't felt any direct financial impacts at the moment, but we are primarily Medicaid funded. So we kind of have, I feel like we have this cloud looming over us.
Mm,
If Medicaid is cut, that brings less Medicaid dollars into the state of Illinois, and there's only maybe so much the state could do to close that gap. So that's absolutely a concern. It's a concern for myself, our families, our individuals, and all of the staff that we employ. It comes down to them also. If we don't have the funds that we need to operate, and we wouldn't want to have to be in a position where we have to reduce services because each and every service is so critical. It would be extraordinarily difficult to have to go through that process of reducing services for those that we care for.
Yeah, it is very tough times. I hear it all the time. See how people are really moving through this. And I think one of the things that I hear, and let me know if you're kind of in the same boat, is people are trying to figure out how can we utilize something like AI to help us, and not just replace our individuals, but really help us continue to scale without having to build our overhead as much. So we're not letting anybody go, but we're just putting things in place that allows us to do more of the things we love, less of the things we don't like. Are you guys in that same boat?
We do use AI. It definitely saves time on taking minutes in meetings. We use
I love
Teams
that.
and Zoom meetings to just reduce the amount of time to drive in for a meeting. So we are as we can beginning to implement some AI and some technology.
Yeah, no, it definitely, as you mentioned, those note takers in meetings is always the best. For the nonprofit that I run, I told the secretary, there's no need for you to take any notes anymore. Just turn on the note taker, and then we can just compile all that, and just it's easier, right? You get really involved into the conversations. So it's pretty cool that we are in the space of AI, and you guys are kind of, I would say, touching the surface on what it actually looks like to really move forward. And is there anything as you continue to move forward that really surprised you about the CEO role? I know you said you were doing it before, but what are some of the things that kind of surprised you as you moved up the ladder?
I think one thing that's surprising, and it probably shouldn't be, is just the enormity of Clearbrook. In my prior role, I worked within one program of Clearbrook, and now I oversee all of the programs. And so it's a very large place, and it's a great thing because we're serving a lot of
Hmm.
people. But in other regards, it's kind of balancing the needs of everybody, the staff, the families, the individuals, and at the end of the day, I have to ask myself, is this right for Clearbrook? And if I can say yes, then it's something that I'll do.
I you'll be doing this for life. I can only imagine. You're already, 20 plus years in here. But if you can actually go back and speak to some of these young individuals that want to be into this space, because Jessica, I always feel that we need to tell our young leaders about the space of nonprofits. So much great, and we actually laughed about it last time. That listen, when you come into a nonprofit, we want everything. We don't want just you to just check this box. Do all your creativities that you want, take whatever roles you want, wear as many hats as you need into the nonprofit world. And in reality, while maybe it's not the biggest paychecks, the ROI is really just the way you feel after you're
Hmm.
helping some of these families in need, right? It's the passion, it's the purpose
Yeah.
that really allows you to fill your cup.
Mhm.
Can we talk to those? Why is this so important to be into these spaces where families are really being impacted by just us showing up and being their voice?
Yeah, I think for me, it goes back to my first job experiences and feeling maybe not valued, feeling unhappy, maybe not understanding what the end goal was, or maybe not wanting to be part of that end goal. And so, from the moment that I walked into Markland, which was the first agency I went to and interviewed at, I just had this feeling like I need to be here. But I think it's because I was with like-minded individuals, compassionate, mission-driven, and at that moment, yes, I was going to make less money, but I was okay with that because I feel like I gained so much more than the financial aspect. And of course, we all have bills to pay and we need to eat and support our families. But I think, something that I really considered, could am I okay with less of something to have more fulfillment in my work life? And the answer was yes. And I can't imagine ever doing anything else but this.
I love that. What do you think the 22-year-old, young you would think about this nonprofit work and where how far you've come into this space? Off a newspaper ad, yeah, I would say even before that you're already inside the work, but this is years coming where you didn't know, that you were into this dark tunnel and knew that there was something on the other side, but did not know.
Yeah.
What do you tell that 22-year-old
I was
thinking
thinking
about
about
all this?
this last night, quite honestly, and I could share personally. I was particularly close with my maternal grandparents, particularly my grandfather, and he was a hard worker. He valued education. He helped me go to college. Both just emotional support and financial support. And when I graduated, he said, "The only thing I want from you is I want you to help somebody else." And that is very much the spirit of my grandfather. And I think about that often because I, I'm doing that, and he passed many years ago. But I think he would be delighted to have been able to come to Clearbrook and see what we do here. And again, I feel like I'm repaying to the next person, whoever that may be, the help that I got when I needed it.
Yeah, because in reality, we're planting seeds. Sometimes don't even know how far they grow. But if we could just plant that seed, we know we've done our job. In hopes that other organizations, other people continue to just water those seeds that we've planted. And as you mentioned, just doing what your grandfather always mentioned. I actually spoke to another leader recently, and before his mother-in-law passed, he was in this place of just kind of data and like IT, and she just couldn't stand that job that he did. And before she passed away, she says, I just pray that one day you'll do work where you actually help people. And she passed away, unfortunately. And he got into the hospice space. And he's like, man, I took a pay cut. I got very uncomfortable. I left corporate world, and that's more than anything. He said, I left corporate world that I was new for 20 some years to go and actually start my own business around hospice. He says, and she would have been so happy. And it is that. It is truly helping people. Like if we just had more people in the world just be kind and have empathy, and do the work that you do, Jessica, like we're in a better
For
place.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll tell
I
you,
love
every
this.
day when I come home from work, if I've had the opportunity to spend time with the individuals that we serve, which I love to do, and I don't always get to do it every day. The minute my husband comes in, he'll be like, "You were with the individuals today." Like he can just see it.
If the Heart and Hustle podcast has ever sparked any idea or made you think differently, do us a favor. Make sure to guys share this, post it on LinkedIn, or even text that nonprofit friend that you just have. Whatever works, this is what keeps the conversation going and allows us to just grow this community together. Seriously, we appreciate you. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool to be in those spaces and see them for who they are. A lot of times overlooked, and to just I have nieces and nephews in this space, and just to every time I see them, I make sure that they're the first people that I give attention to, because it just matters. A lot of times, either they're the last or they're just not given the attention at all. So I try to make it, and you'll see the difference when you do just interact on the smiles on their faces, and now they really want to get involved and just be more conversive with you, and I really love that. I ask you though, Jessica, in the space of you growing, and I can only imagine there were some challenges, right? Maybe some, I would say, losses, but in reality, I like to flip it and say lessons. So there's those moments in our lives that we're going and we're trying to climb this ladder, and things happen, but there's so many lessons in those failures and those losses. Do you recall maybe three of them that you just thought like, why me, but realized it was actually a lesson to those moments?
Um, yeah, so I can talk about, I was here during COVID, and so there was a lot of
Oh my
lessons
God.
learned in how to kind of navigate that and to pivot very quickly. And in a crisis situation, maybe with the very best of intentions, not always
Hmm.
getting the outcome that was desired because of the situation. And so I think that has now taught me to be ready for anything. Where previously I would probably that well nothing's bad's going to happen, something like that wouldn't happen, and then it does, and you have to quickly pivot and change your way of thinking, and so that again working through that without right, a lot of structure or guidance from our regulatory bodies and the unknowns. Certainly trying to do the best that I could, but maybe not always, doing exactly the right thing, but with the very best of intentions.
Yeah, pandemic time for sure, I think showed a lot of leaders their strength. I don't think a lot of individuals were expecting something like that. Their backs were against the wall, but so many people really had to figure it out. The whole world had to kind of figure it out. But if you were running an organization like this, you really had to figure it out. Did you guys start doing a lot of remote stuff, or there wasn't really a lot of room for
There
remote?
really wasn't a lot of room for that since we directly serve individuals, which was challenging. I mean, we were frontline workers um, in the homes and in the programs, taking care of the individuals that live with Clearbrook.
Do you think there's a myth that people have about just working into this space and maybe um, running a mission-based organization like this?
I think I think sometimes people feel right because it's social services
Mhm.
and we're all social work people that it's nice, maybe the accountability isn't enforced as much as when you look at a corporate environment, and that's not true. We have our
Mhm.
customers to serve, just like any other business, and we expect a lot from our staff, and we expect people to be accountable. And although maybe we're a little bit on the nicer side, it doesn't mean that we don't accomplish everything that we want to do.
And what does it look like when you think about a plan for the next, let's say, 2 to 3 years? What does it look like for you guys? You guys got things on the horizon you guys are working on?
We
Want
do.
to see
We
definitely
kind of
coming
are
up?
always looking at what's coming next. And right now we are in the midst of a pretty big project with our community day service location. So that's where the individuals go during the day and can get job training, leisure skills. They can connect with friends from other locations. They go out into the community. And up until just a couple weeks ago, most of of that happened in a very large warehouse setting. It's a 36,000 square foot warehouse where about on any given day 150 to 180 people would go. And
Wow.
as I, entered my role 2 years ago, and along with my executive team, really feeling that that's not the best way to deliver services. We want to be more community integrated, more client focused. So with tremendous support from our board of directors, we were able to sell that building and purchase a couple smaller buildings that are much more community based. So closer to public transportation, closer to a gym. So rather than bring all of our individuals together into a building that has a gym and a movie theater, we want them to be out experiencing the communities they live in. And I think when our individuals are out, they're enhancing the lives of the other people around them and their community.
Hmm.
They work in the community. They shop in the community. It's wonderful to see them embrace that and be part of a larger community outside of Clearbrook.
Do you recall a story that reminds you of this is why I do it? I mean, being in this space for so long. Is there
Yeah,
a story that comes to
yeah.
mind?
I have so many, but with the opening of our first smaller building, I had the opportunity to welcome some donors and staff and families at an open house, and was able to give a speech. And one of the individuals, Steve, was with me, and he came in his suit,
Mm.
and we were welcoming people. And then he took the microphone and said he wanted my job, which is great. And then he resigned a couple of minutes later. But then fast forward to just another day, I was out at that location, and I saw Steve, and he said he had something for me, and he was looking in his pockets, and he had a note. It was all nicely folded up. But he said it was for me and all of Clearbrook, and he wrote about how much he loved his new location, how happy he was. He said he was having a delightful day, and that he loves all of Clearbrook. And so I still have that note. I took it to the next board meeting. I shared it with our board of directors because they also have a part in driving this mission forward. It's a very much a group effort, and but that was really special for me to have, and for him to think of me and write that.
Yeah, no, that's it. When we talk about what we do it for, that's it, right? That's that feeling that you go home with, like, man, I can't believe that I do this. Do you ever still believe that? Like, you walk through the day and think to yourself, like, wow, I can't believe that I actually do this for a living.
I know, and and in the letter and Steve, I was thinking too that this represents a decision that I made to do this project, and for him to respond in that way. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I made the right decision, because sometimes it's scary, making
Mhm.
big decisions with financial impacts, and I'm responsible for the health of this agency, and but then when I get home, sometimes it really is, wow, I got to do all of that today,
Wow.
which is amazing and rewarding, and I feel so blessed to serve Clearbrook in this capacity.
Yeah, fills your cup. I'll leave you with this blind question as we start to wrap things up, Jessica. If your child wrote a letter to you, to your staff about you as a mom and as a CEO, what do you hope it would actually say?
I hope that they would say that they got their compassion from me. I see it in them in other areas, whether it's supporting children, homelessness. They don't always support the same causes that I do, but I see that in them, and I would hope that they would feel like they got that from me, and that I showed them how to be kind and compassionate as they grew up. Four of them are adults now, and they're off in college or in their first jobs, and I'm excited to see what they do. I just I hope I gave them a good foundation, and I hope they would say that.
Yeah. Pretty sure you did. Are there anybody in the nonprofit world? Anybody kind of getting into that space?
Um, one of
Any
my
of your
daughters
kids?
is volunteering here in our IT department while she's looking for a job. So she's helping here, and I get some free labor.
She never knows. She might get the bug and she may stay forever. Who knows? She might be taking your seat at some point, Jessica.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe the legacy continues. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Jessica, where can people find more of what you guys are doing? What is the website? Any social medias or anything like that?
Sure. Yeah. Our website, clearbrook.org. And there's all kinds of things on there on ways to get involved, ways to join our advocacy efforts, how to donate. And if there's anybody looking for resources for the services that we do, that can be found on our website as well.
I love that. And do you have a blind question for the next leader that we have here on the Heart and Hustle?
Yes, my blind question is what is their what is their greatest success that they achieved over the last 6 months?
Ooh, 6 months. You got okay. That's good. So sometimes we forget to pat ourselves in the back for growth. So, oh,
Yep.
okay, I like that. I like that, Jessica. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for your time and for what you continue to do for the last almost three
Yeah.
decades. Okay, we can round that up and say almost 3 decades, and continue just the growth that you've been doing for so long, and continue to impact the lives and bringing joy. I think that's one of the things that you do most as well in this space is really bring joy to so many people. So we thank you for being just a small part of what this world looks like when it comes to positivity. We thank you. My name is Efrain. This is Jessica. Make sure you guys go follow them on all socials. Go to the website, check out more information on how you can also help. Okay, we'll see you on the next one.
Okay.
Laters.
Thank you.